Addiction and addictive behaviors and substance abuse is prevalent in families and in family systems. And they can be very insidious. Insidious meaning they can be super secretive, right? And that really depicts a lot of substance abuse cycles, because you're dealing with information that people don't want to know about, or don't want you rather to know about, right? And so when you're dealing with family secrets, they're secret for a reason. Um, a lot of times in families, you've got relatives, right? Relatives who don't talk about what's going on in their families, like aunt, uncle, mother, dad, sister, brother, right? Or even yourself, that might drink too much, might do drugs, right? Alcohol and drug consumption is huge in these families. Also, other what we call process addictions, right? So the things that cause people to to stumble, right? Such as smoking, such as gambling, right? Such as all manner of other types of addiction, even working a lot, a workaholic. That's a process addiction. And so we can get stuck on these things. So we want to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you can identify it in yourself. And we're going to talk about how or what a family system looks like, um, that has these qualities, right? So what is addiction? Addiction is something that we feel as individuals or systems, family systems to be specific, that we do uh subconsciously. So we're compelled almost to do these things, and we do them habitually. So we do them all the time. Um and they're done in secret a lot of times. And so this is one of the things that we deal with. Why do we do these things? Why do we drink? Why do we do drugs? What's the point of it, right? Good question. I'm glad you asked. So, the point of drinking and doing drugs of any kind, any process addiction, right? The point of it is what it does is it it allows the individual or the family to fill gaps, right? To fill the gaps. So think about the brick wall behind me. In the joints there's mortar, right? There's mortar. So you have the bricks laying on top of each other, right? And in between the bricks, you have something called mortar in between the bricks to hold the bricks together, right? So that thing that holds the bricks together, these things uh, are these addictive behaviors, and they hinge on something called trauma. Trauma trauma is very difficult, and it looks different in just about every case. So you have three types of trauma I want to focus on. One of them is emotional trauma, right? So you have emotional trauma. Say, your mom or your dad or your uncle or your aunt, somebody in close relationship to you says, Jethro, I hate you. Or they show you they don't like you by treating you poorly, right? Everything you do, they criticize it, they judge it, they they critique it harshly. Jethro, you can't do anything right. Why didn't you put these dishes up? Well, you you were tired. It was late at night, and oh, by the way, you're 5 years old. You know what I mean? What did they expect? Jethro, why are you um not not performing well in school. You must be dumb, right? Or they'll say stuff like, you'll never amount to anything, right? They're planting seeds in your heart and in your mind. Jethro, you'll never do anything that's going to ever please me. Or Jethro, you'll never amount to anything. I knew that you're nothing but garbage, right? Or Annie, you're just going to be a prostitute. You're nothing. You'll never amount to anything. You're dumb, you're stupid, you're ugly, right? These evil, ugly words they say. And so this is emotional abuse, right? You can't do anything right. You're always, why are you always, Annie, why are you always tripping over your own 2 feet? Instead of being supportive and saying, Annie, are you okay? I see that you're stumbling, you're tripping over your own feet. Do you need me to help you? That's an appropriate, right, response to Annie tripping. Or when Jethro doesn't complete his task, like washing the dishes, and he's 5. Not that a 5-year-old needs to be washing any kind of dishes at all. Okay. Oh, Jethro, can I help you with that task? Can I help you? Can you help me more appropriately? Can you help me wash the dishes? Oh, yes, mommy, I can definitely help you. Yes, daddy, I can definitely help you. And will you, Jethro, dry while I wash? And we'll work as a team. That's supportive. That's endearing. That upholds a person, right? That support a person, that allows people to feel a part of, right? Instead of feeling rejected. So, and the same thing with Annie. Annie, can I help you with your homework? Can I help you with making friends? Can I help you with what's going on in your life? Or, Annie, I see that you're silent today. Normally, you're very talkative. Is everything okay? Instead of saying, Annie, I don't know why you're getting on my nerves. Just go away. Leave me alone. No, Annie's got issues you probably need to pay attention to, mom and dad. Right? So there are reasons why our children might turn cold, might turn to using drugs because they don't feel like they're included. Mom and dad push me away every time I show them I need them. Every time I show them I need help. Every time they see me struggling. Every time that mom and dad sees that I'm having problems in school. They don't help me. They don't reach out to me. Maybe I'm not lovable, right? These are the messages that come across a child's mind. Maybe I'm not lovable. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe, just maybe, there's something wrong with me, right? And so when we emotionally abuse our children, these are the messages they get programmed with. And it is a program. It's a program. You can imagine yourself writing a script in your child's mind, right? In their subconscious mind. And the script is, you're no good, you suck. You'll never get it right. You never do anything right. Don't trust your feelings. Don't trust anybody. Who cares about you, right? Why? Because you're always ignored. Your parents see you struggling and they don't meet your needs. They don't reach out to you, right? And so That's a problem. It's a real problem. And so, what is a child left to do? Fend for themselves because that's all they know. They can't trust anybody because guess what? Mom and dad have shown them that they're not there for them when they clearly see their children struggling. So, child feels that nobody loves me. Child feels that they get the impression, a valid impression, that no one loves me, I'm not lovable, because that's the messaging, right? I can't do anything right. And so does the child do? They started to function that way. If no one loves me, if I'm not worthy to be loved, I'm just going to be mediocre. I'm going to fail classes. I'm not going to try. Why should I try? Why should I even give it my best effort? Why give it any effort at all? No one cares about me. These are the subconscious messages that we give our children. When we don't tend to their needs, we don't pay attention to them, right? These are the subconscious messaging that we give to our kids. And so the kids, reasonably so, think that, I'm no good. And so what do? They act like they're no good because that's the messaging. That's what their most significant people in their lives are telling them. And so I'm going to act it out. Jethro, Annie, I'm going to be bad. I'm bad. Mom and dad are telling me I'm bad because they don't see anything that's redeemable in me. So therefore I'm going to act like that. I'm going to act bad. I'm going to fight. I'm going to cuss people out. I'm going to be demanding. I'm going to be overbearing. I'm going to be melodramatic. Right? I'm going to cry. I'm going to pitch fits. I'm going to have temper tantrums like a 3-year-old because nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Nobody wants me. I mean, that's the message, right? That is the message that mom and dad, significant others are giving the child. Nobody cares. Nobody loves me. You can give your child everything in the world. Laptops, cell phones. You can get them the latest and greatest iPhone and iPad and Beats headphones and all of that. But guess what? None of that matters because it doesn't satisfy the need. And the need is the child needs the parent, not the stuff. You can buy the most name brand this or that for the child. Does not matter. Does that child no good? The child needs the loving words that you don't give them. Or you might say, I love you, but then treat them like garbage. And in that case, that's a mixed message. And all of a sudden, child doesn't know who to trust. You're telling them one thing, but doing something else. Oh my gosh. So now the child has trust issues. I can't trust what an adult tells me because they've been known to lie. Right? Mom and dad promised me one thing, but they never followed through. There you go. Trust issue. There you go. See? Instead of the parents saying, hey, hun, we're having financial problems. Don't have to go into it. You know that iWatch I promised you? Well, we can't get it until Christmas. Just tell them. and then leave it at that. Kid don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Just tell them. And so, but the child really wants you. They want your approval. They want your wisdom. They want your care. They want your compassion. They want your LOVE, your love. That's what they need and they want. Did you know that if you leave a child, an infant, alone, a newborn, without swaddling that child, without holding that child close to your body, did you know that that child will die? That child will die. Why? Because it's unable to regulate its own emotions. It's not able to regulate its body. And because it cannot regulate on its own, it needs mom, it needs dad. So when you refuse to hold a child, they become what we call dysregulated. And when they become dysregulated, their nerve endings are shot. They cry a lot. They become unconsolable. Why? It's because mom and dad leave them in the bassinet all day long. It's because mom and dad leave them to cry all by themselves without no support, no reassurance, right? Even as an infant, child remembers that stuff. A child will remember it until the day they die. How do they remember? In their body. So they develop things like anxiety disorder. They develop depression. They develop eating disorders. Okay? They develop all kinds of maladies. Why? It's because in body, they know something's wrong. There's some needs that I didn't get filled, satisfied. Not wants, not iPad, not Apple Watch, needs. There's some physiological needs just didn't get met. There's some emotional needs didn't get attended to, right? And so that's how when a child becomes old enough, usually middle school age, 12, 13, 14, the child, once given an opportunity, will do drugs, will have sex, will act out in ways that you might find untoward. What's wrong with this child? I don't know why they're acting out. Well, let's think back. Let's think back. Were you really there for the child? Now, I understand that parents have to work a lot, but you know what? Substitutes can help too. There's aunt, there's uncle, there's grandma, there's grandfather. There are other supports. Child needs to know that somebody's there for them. So that's an emotional abuse thing. So what about physical abuse? Physical abuse is, well, it's let me beat the hell out of you. Now, we, grew up spanked in our house. I mean, yeah, but we weren't beaten that well. Let me rephrase that. We were spanked, but there was usually something there that created the scenario where we were spanked. But we weren't injured, say, right? So you're spanking your child and they're injured. Well, that's a problem. That's called physical abuse. If you're punching your child, and I've heard stories about that. If you're punching your child, or as I say, if you're laying hands on your children and they're not comforting hands, they're not loving hands, right? If they cause pain in your child, you're asking for trouble as a parent because that child is going to remember that, and the manifestation behind it is going to be serious. That child's going to develop anger issues, and with comes anger comes depression, comes anxiety, anger, and depression comes let me beat somebody up, let me whoop somebody's ass. I need to fight. I need to show you how upset I am. Why? Because I can't articulate it. I'm still a kid. I can't articulate it, so I'm going to show you. Or as I heard my mom tell when we were kids, I can show you better than I can tell you. That is really true. Kids can't really say what's wrong with them, but they can show you. They can act it out, and they do all the time. All the time. And so that's physical abuse, right? Punching, kicking, slapping, being heavy-handed, right? And you could be very heavy-handed by not laying hands on a child, but being very emotionally heavy-handed. Like I said before about the emotional stuff, you can't do anything wrong, or you're setting the child up for failure by putting unreasonable demands on them. Same thing. Same result, folks, right? So let's move on. What about the last abuse category, and that is sexual abuse? That is a big deal. And that's the secret one. That's the one that nobody talks about. Nobody wants to talk about that one. God forbid. But that's a big one because a lot of people have been abused sexually. Let me give you the stats. And these stats are old, so they may be out of date, but let me give you the stats that I did on my thesis work. And that is 1 out of every 2 girls are molested, sexually abused. Let me say it again. 1 out of every 2 girls are sexually abused. So when you find a woman or a girl or an adolescent, just think 1 out of every 2 girls that you meet have been sexually abused by somebody in their family or a close family member or someone close to the family. Could be a neighbor, could be an aunt or uncle or a cousin or sister or brother. These are uncomfortable topics, but they're true, and they all lie underneath the surface of why people do drugs. Why do they get hooked on substances and so forth? And so the sexual abuse is huge. So now we know 1 out of every 2 girls, women, adolescents have been sexually abused. We know that. Well, what's the stat for boys, for males? Well, it's not much better. 1 out of every 4. 1 out of every 4 males have been sexually molested or abused somehow. Those are huge numbers. Huge numbers. They're really unquantifiable. You've got what, 350 million people in the United States of America? Well, half of them, women, have been molested. Half have been raped. Half of them have been sexually abused. Think about that. And every 4 boys or men have been molested, sexually abused, raped. Think about that. So when you're dealing with these types of numbers, it's no wonder we have a problem in the United States with substance abuse, because trauma underlies all of it. Okay? Trauma underlies all of it. So I want to help you out with that by saying and finishing up and saying that, how do we deal with it? How do we treat it? Well, in the closing minutes, I'll just say that we treat trauma, right? And at the same time or simultaneously, we treat the addiction. Let me repeat it. We treat trauma, right? And at the same time, we treat addiction. And that's something that we have to keep in mind, folks. That's something we have to keep in mind because it is necessary that we understand how trauma is really how we use trauma or how trauma affects us in our everyday lives, guys. It's so important. I'm going to put my number on the screen so that you guys can call me and make an appointment. And so you can call me and make an appointment so that we can talk about this, right? So we can talk, excuse me, talk about this and talk about how in the world to treat uh, your trauma, how to treat your addiction to substances, to all manner of things. You can even be a workaholic, folks. You can be a workaholic. That means you work all the time. Um, and that's a problem. So we're gonna address all these things, okay, in counseling. That's for sure. And you can definitely address them, because if you don't, um, then you'll have a problem. You'll have a problem that you won't be able to fix. And that's something we need to get to the bottom of. We need to get to the bottom of why we do what we do. Okay, let me put this on here. Let me see if it'll come on the screen now. There you go. That is my phone number, and that is how do you get in touch with me. So I want you to call that number, make an appointment. Call that number, make an appointment today. And you can leave a message, and then I'll get back with you if I don't pick up right away. And just let me know what's going on with you. Let me know, hey, Pastor Chris, I've got this issue. Now, I do spiritual counseling also. And that just basically is what it sounds like. A lot of these issues, trauma, the enemy, the evil one, sinks its hooks into us through trauma. And that's the foundation of all this other stuff. So call that number. Call that number, 832-315-4276. That's again 832-315-4276. Agape Marriage and Family Counseling, LLC. And that's how you get in touch with me. We can do family sessions. We can do individual sessions for addiction, for alcohol and substance abuse. And we can even do group counseling through Zoom. So we can do counseling through Zoom. We can do counseling in person. So my address is going to be 2121 Market Street. 2121 Market Street, Galveston, Texas, 77550. That's my physical location. Hopefully, this was productive for you and fruitful. God bless you and God keep you, and may his face always shine upon you, and bless you in your going out and your coming in. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Looking forward to hearing from you. Take care.